Jinu starts his morning with a warning, namely that his life is absolutely over. He's out here in a bright purple suit and matching hat, looking like a budget mascot for a cell phone store. He's doing a full grand opening dance for the world to see, shaking it for a blowout sale like his rent depends on it. He's even got the cheaper than shoes sign ready to go. Internally, he's dying. While everyone else his age is off at college, Jinu is stuck here living like a human vibrator. He tells himself he's only putting up with this because the pay is good. But the universe doesn't care about his feelings. People aren't just looking at him, they're laughing at him. But hey, it's only until he passes that college entrance exam. Suddenly, a fist enters the chat. A random high schooler decides to use Jinu as a punching bag. The kid starts giving him tips on his form, telling him to rotate his hips when he throws a punch. They're literally mocking him to his face. One of them even spits on the ground. Then they ask the question that really hurts. How much do you actually make doing this? They actually feel sorry for him. Jinu tries to summon some adult energy. He tells himself these high school thugs don't scare him. He decides it's time to give them a piece of his mind. He's going to hit them with the big numbers. He shouts that he makes 10,001. The kids just stare at him in silence. They think he's like a lagging PC. Jinu tries to act like a senior, but his stutter is working overtime. The kids are definitely not impressed. And then, wham! They lay him out right on the sidewalk. The kid tells him he crossed the line, and then mocks him by saying he probably stutters in his thoughts too. Jinu is left trembling on the pavement, upset that he's being treated like an idiot, but he's convinced he'll have the last laugh, because it's thugs like them that ruined his life in the first place. The kids start taking photos of him like he's a zoo exhibit. Jinu clenches his teeth, promising himself that once he graduates they'll all be working for him. This is his third try at the exam, and once he passes and gets a real job, he's going to make them all sorry. He moves on to his favorite hobby, wishing for the total downfall of the people who ruined his life. Specifically, Ancheol Jang. He calls him the devil, and hopes his life is a complete train wreck. Speak of the devil. A man in a sharp suit walks out of the store, literally glowing. He looks at Jinu and asks if he's the part-time worker for today. It's Ancheol Jang. And it turns out Ancheol is the owner of this entire store. Jinu's brain basically crashes. The guy who ruined his life is now his boss. Then the rest of the old bully squad rolls up, congratulating their boy on the new store. They always knew he'd make it big, laughing about how they were such class clowns 3 years ago. The biggest bully in school is now a CEO. Jinu is watching this from the sidelines, and he is absolutely losing it. He screams that it's not fair. In his head, they're supposed to be losers, riding around on stolen motorcycles because they're broke, not successful businessmen driving imported cars. Then, one of the thugs spots him. He recognizes the stutter immediately and calls out Jinu's old high school nickname. Jinu tries to disappear, but it's too late. He's been caught. Ancheol steps closer. He leans in and greets Jinu like they're old pals. Jinu is wondering why the universe hates him this much. Ancheol even pretends to be sorry. He says people tell him he was pretty immature back then. He pulls out his wallet and offers 50,001, telling Jinu to use it to call a taxi. Jinu stares at his open palms. He can't bring himself to take the money. Instead, he decides to grow a spine. He demands a sincere apology. He tells Ancheol that his life turned out this way because of them, working a minimum wage job with a stutter he didn't ask for. Ancheol just laughs it off. He tells him they were just kids and not to be so sensitive. He even tries to throw another 50,001 at the problem. Jinu crumples the cash. Ancheol gives a fake "I'm sorry" while admitting he doesn't even remember what he did. That's the final straw. Jinu screams that his life is a living hell because of him. He shouts that he doesn't want the money and bolts. He's running blind, completely lost in his rage. Ancheol yells after him, telling him he can't go that way. But it's too late. Jinu runs straight off a ledge. He's falling 3 floors down to the basement level. As he plunges to his death, he hears Ancheol still using that mocking nickname. He curses Ancheol one last time as the ground rushes up to meet him. And then, blackness. Jinu wakes up. But he isn't in a hospital. He's on the floor of a classroom, his old homeroom class from high school. He thinks he's dreaming. He sees the bullies standing right over him. One of them tells him that getting hit in the temple makes you black out. Jinu thinks this is the best dream ever. He decides to have some fun. He reaches up and delivers a massive smack to the bully's face. He even calls them bitches to their faces. But then, the punch comes back. And it hurts. A lot. Jinu realizes he's not dreaming. He's actually back in his second year of high school. Jinu, or rather, the soul trapped inside him, is staring at the floor in a complete daze. Before he can even process the timeline jump, he hears the sound of footsteps. A shadow looms over him. Someone asks, "What's all the commotion?" The voice is cold, familiar, the kind of voice that used to own the hallways. The figure stops right in front of him and looks down. And then, he says the name. Jinu? The camera pans up, and we finally see him. It's a guy in a black hoodie with a cigarette in his hand, looking like he owns the place. Jinu's eyes go wide, because he's not looking at a stranger. He's looking at himself. Well, his old self. The high school version of Ancheol Jang. The soul currently sitting on the floor, the real Ancheol, is absolutely losing his mind. He's looking at his own face from the outside. He crawls over to a mirror, just to be sure. And there it is. The reflection shows the nerdy, stuttering kid he used to bully. But standing right behind him is the biggest asshole of all time. The high school Ancheol looks down at the new Jinu with a sadistic grin. He tells him, "I think you're gonna have to be punished, Jinu." The irony is thick enough to choke on. The legendary bully has officially become his own favorite target. And just like that, the title drops. My Life as a Loser. The story jumps back in time for a quick history lesson. We see a high school kid getting absolutely pummeled. When the kid asks why this is happening, Ancheol calmly explains that it's just really fun. His philosophy back then was simple. Fight well, and you rule the school as king. His friends would ask him to hang out, but Ancheol believed losers couldn't relate to his lifestyle. He didn't see the point in preparing for the future like a nerd, not when he could be powerful and happy right now. He even got into mixed martial arts just to protect his throne. When asked if he was going to go pro, Ancheol said he was just doing it for fun. All the adults around him used to shake their heads. They were convinced a kid like him was destined for failure. Ancheol admits he heard it so much he actually got a little nervous. But it turned out he had a serious knack for beating people up. So he went pro the second he graduated and proved that you don't actually need textbooks to be successful. He used his prize money to open a discount cell phone store on the side. A fast track to success. He used to wonder how all those high school geeks turned out, but seeing Jinu working outside his store confirmed it. Once a loser, always a loser. Ancheol remembers looking down at Jinu in the street, offering him 50,000 won for a taxi, thinking about how great his own life turned out. And then, a slipper violently connects with his face. The timeline snaps back to the present, or rather, the new present. Ancheol is currently experiencing the absolute joy of being the loser, getting completely beaten up by his own past self. He's a 21-year-old CEO trapped inside the body of the kid he ruined 3 years ago. The title drops, My Life as a Loser. Ancheol is lying on the classroom floor, and his old lackeys are using him for target practice. One of them, Ming-Yu, is currently bending Ancheol's arm backward. Ming-Yu asks the others if this is how you do an armbar. Ancheol screams in pain. He remembers how much Ming-Yu used to suck up to him, and now he's using a loser-only move on his former boss. But Ancheol's MMA instincts kick in. He tells Ming-Yu he's doing it completely wrong. If you want to do a proper armbar, you have to pull the arm toward you more. Ming-Yu decides to take the advice. He yanks the arm back, and Ancheol screams even louder. Another lackey wonders out loud how to do a guillotine choke. Ancheol is sitting on the floor, clenching his fist. His pride is deeply wounded. He decides he's going to wipe them all off the face of the earth. His groundwork might have been weak in high school, but he's a pro now. He can still beat the crap out of these kids. He gets ready to dash forward. Suddenly, a voice echoes in his head. The voice asks him if he wants to return to his own body. Ancheol stops and looks around in confusion. Before he can process it, someone grabs him from behind. It's the high school version of Ancheol. He announces that he's never done a guillotine choke before, but he figures he'll try it out right now. Past Ancheol wraps his arm around the new Jinu's neck and squeezes with zero technique. Future Ancheol is furious, but he also knows his own strength. He counts down in his head. 5. He knows that if squeezed correctly, a person blacks out in exactly 5 seconds. 4. He notes that his past self is doing this perfectly for a first-timer. 3, 2, 1. And just like that, the lights go out. Ancheol wakes up in a dark, empty void. The mysterious voice returns, reminding him that he promised to make him experience the exact same pain and suffering. Ancheol looks up. Floating above him is a man in a sharp suit. It's the real Jinu Kim. Jinu mocks him, asking how it feels to be the loser. Ancheol demands to know why this is happening. Jinu laughs and points out the irony. He didn't know why Ancheol bullied him every day either. It was just because Ancheol was taller, because he was stronger. Jinu asks if he enjoyed living like a king, because now it's time for revenge. He plans to sit back and watch Ancheol suffer. Ancheol swallows his pride and begs. He promises to be really nice to Jinu if he lets him go. He pleads for a way to break the curse. Jinu smiles. He agrees to tell him the rules, because giving him hope will only make the despair sweeter. Jinu holds up 2 fingers. There are 2 things Ancheol must do to break the curse. First, he has to stop the 4 FML incidents from taking place, the 4 specific events that completely ruined Jinu's life and caused his stutter. Ancheol stares blankly. His brain is completely empty. He bullied Jinu 24/7. He has absolutely no memory of 4 specific incidents. But then, Ancheol gets an idea. He remembers that his friends were the ones doing most of the bullying anyway. So all he has to do is beat up his past self and his lackeys, tear them limb from limb so they're too scared to bully anyone. Jinu immediately shuts that down. He knows exactly what Ancheol is thinking. He tells him that if he drastically alters the timeline, or if he tries to solve everything with violence, the mission fails. Small changes are fine. But the second rule is the hardest. He has to make past Ancheol turn over a new leaf. Ancheol realizes how screwed he is. He's stuck in a completely weak body. He has to stop 4 events he doesn't remember and somehow redeem a teenage sociopath. The vision ends. Ancheol wakes up at a desk in the classroom. He's sweating and deeply stressed. He turns to the kid sitting next to him. The kid is wearing glasses, with a literal combination padlock holding the frames together. Ancheol casually enters the numbers 0520. The lock clicks open. The kid is amazed. Ancheol admits it's easy because it's his own birthday, and he's the one who put it there. The kid shushes him in a total panic. He warns Ancheol that they are dead meat if the guy in the back wakes up. Ancheol looks toward the back of the room. His past self is sound asleep on his desk. The kid reminds him of the classroom rules. Past Ancheol decreed that only Group 3 is allowed to talk while he sleeps. If anyone from Group 1 or 2 makes a sound, he kills them. The entire classroom is dead silent, just completely paralyzed by fear. Even the teacher seems intimidated. The teacher quietly asks the class to open their textbooks. He looks toward the back row and notices the sleeping dictator. The teacher makes a fatal mistake. He points directly at Jinu and tells him to go wake the sleeping student up. The entire class looks at Jinu like he's a dead man walking. They can't believe the teacher just signed his death warrant. Ancheol, currently trapped in Jinu's body, just sighs. He stands up and walks to the back of the room. He looks down at his past self and thinks to himself, "Fine, I'll wake him up." He pulls his arm back, and then, smack! He delivers a massive slap straight to his past self's head. The sound echoes through the silent room. The students are absolutely horrified. Their eyes are bulging out of their skulls. The sleeping dictator slowly raises his head. Past Ancheol stares up at the nerd who just slapped him. If you think you know what's coming, you're probably wrong. So hit that like button, subscribe to Lazy Recap, and don't miss the next video, because things are about to get insane. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.